Today's video, we're going to talk about live chat answering services. Do they lose or make you more profit? The answer is going to be in this video specifically for you. So if you're contemplating ever doing this or using this, you know what to do. And right off the top, I can tell you for sure, despite anything else I'm going to say, live chat answering services, whether you use them or not, you should be doing live chat because live chat's always going to make you more money. Why is that? Because a certain percentage of the population are used to using live chat and prefer live chat to other forms of communication, whether it be phone, form. And a lot of people don't really get this. They think, well, I don't want to answer the phone, or I don't want to answer form leads, or I don't want to do live chat. And ultimately what you're doing is you're multiplying the profit you can make the more methods of communication that you have. It's just you're stacking gains on top of gains on top of gains. And I get it, a lot of niches, not very many people are going to use your chat. It might be 5% or whatever people that will use your chat as in terms of the percentage of leads you get as a whole, but it still will add some. And in some spaces, it's going to be the difference between making 50 grand a month, like 80 to 100 grand a month, just with the live chat alone. It is huge in so many niches. Pretty much anything to do with anything that what you do is having to be custom, it can be easily double, which is why you would want to use it for sure in that case. On the flip side of things, you could be talking about like floodwater removal services, and it might be 1% of your overall, a 1% increase in your revenue. But 1% is a 1%, and maybe you don't want to do that. But what I will tell you is, what we're going to talk about in this video is whether or not you want to outsource the task or keep it in-house. Because a lot of people hate doing live chat. I talk about all the time to my clients at my firm at Guaranteed PPC, do live chat, do it this way. It works. They still just don't want to do it because somebody's got to be there to answer the chats and they don't want to do it. And they don't want to assign anybody to do it. And I understand when you're not doing a whole lot of volume, it can be cumbersome to pay for somebody to sit there and do it. You just got to do the math and you got to buckle down and you got to get it done one way or another because you're just pissing tons of your money away from your ads that you're running and driving traffic to your site without it. Ultimately, what's the point of driving traffic at a site if you're not going to actually utilize the traffic at the full potential it has? So I'm going to go over how profitable the live chat is, why it's profitable, and then how to outsource it, and then what you're going to sacrifice by outsourcing it on top of it. And then are these services any good where you can actually outsource it to? So before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am Corey Ziman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability up front, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. We are the only agency out there doing anything like this, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that we share in today's video. With that said, getting into the content. Like phone answering services, okay, which a lot of people use, a lot of people despise because it seems like for most people, whoever you hire, they're all the same. They all have crappy minimum wage employees or close to answering the phone. They don't give a rat's ass about what they're doing. Don't answer the phone in an energetic way. Therefore, that affects their appointment setting rates because it absolutely does do that, how you answer the phone. Even just the tone of your voice will depend on whether or not you get the appointment or not. If you don't know that's the case, it will, as well as your greeting itself. Yeah, I've talked about this in other videos, and how you set up your greeting will affect your appointment setting rates. For the general rule of thumb is with live chat answering services the same way, it's 10 bad for every good. You're going to have to hire 10 of them to find a good one if you're just randomly out there trying different ones. What I can tell you specifically about live chat answering services is if you're going to do it, my suggestion to you absolutely is to find a specialized service. Don't just hire a company who does phone and form and live chat answering, and they also do outsource technical support and all this crap. And the reason why these firms do this is because once you get a client for one thing, you could cross-sell them on all the others, and it makes your lifetime value of a client much higher. But it's just like with marketing services. A marketing firm that does all your marketing is going to be really, really half-assed with all of it. You need specialists in marketing anymore to really do a good job with each channel that you're advertising even on most of the time, but certainly different mediums, organic versus paid, all this stuff. There are actual live chat answering services that specializing in answering live chats and dealing with live chats to get the maximum return on investment possible for you through the live chat itself on your website. And for that matter, Blazio is one out there. I don't want to feel like I'm endorsing any one here because it's going to seem like a commercial. I didn't get paid by them. Their one that I can speak of is actually good, and we kind of know the numbers from it. But there are other ones out there. And the idea behind the specialized services, by the way, is they actually give you a live chat, and they'll put the live chat on the website for you. So it's their chat. They just instruct you, okay, put this code on your website. We'll answer all the chats. They'll ask you some questions about how to handle the chats, and they'll go to town doing it. The reason why the specialized services are so good is because they, of course, have tested over and over again how to maximize the appointment setting rate per each live chat that they get. And they train their people a lot better so that the same person that's doing your stuff isn't answering calls and doing this and doing this. They're just really good at what they do. So if you're going to go with outsourcing it, do it that way. However, I will tell you for sure that doing it yourself in-house is much, much better. Unlike a lot of things like managing your PPC ads, doing your taxes, doing all that stuff in-house, you're not going to be as good as somebody who just all day does nothing else besides that. Plus, they manage 50 other companies' stuffs, so they know about all the latest updates and trends and this and that you're not going to, a single employee working on one account and that's it, is not going to pick up on all that. Therefore, they're going to be experimenting with your stuff all the time because they don't have any outside experience. When it comes to doing the live chat, in-house is going to be the best every single time. The reason for that is because the outsourced agencies aren't going to play ball with the way that you tell them that you want it done, which is actually the most effective way to do it. Now, why doesn't the outsourced live chat answering agencies do what the most effective way, or why haven't they come up with the most effective way? Because they're businesses that want to save costs, control costs like all others. And so what they'll do is they'll do a decent job itself, but they're not going to go all the way out to get and ring out every possible appointment you can out of the leads you're getting or out of the chats you're getting, because they don't really care. They're just trying to make it cheap for them to do and apply their markup. And for that matter, most of the market out there anyway, and when it comes to any kind of like marketing, this or that, sales, this or that, the percentage of people that want the best is such a small sliver of the market that's willing to pay an unlimited amount of money for it. They can't make money just going after that sliver of the market. So that what they do is they do a cheap enough, good enough approach is what I kind of call it. And so you're ultimately going to get half-assed results at a cheap price, and because that's all you're going to find. You're not going to find this really, really good live chat answering program because most people don't want that. And why don't people want that? I don't know. It's just like with the pay-per-click advertising market. People want to pay $500 a month because that's what they want to pay. And so most of the guys out there, that's what they're charging. Does that actually get you the best results? Not even close, but people want to mostly pay that. So you can't blame the companies for doing it when everybody wants that. Okay? And that's just how things are going. The answering service companies are the same way. What they need to be doing is charging $1,000 a month per client so they can actually train somebody personal on your stuff that will do a good job, that manages only 4, 5, 6 accounts. They're not going to do that because most people don't want to hear it's $1,000 when there's other companies out there saying they'll do it for $100 a month and they don't know how to sell it, basically. So for that matter, just know you're going to get like half or less of your results possible via the traffic you have coming to your website with an outsourced service. Okay? Now, if you do things in-house, you could get easily 1 to 5% of the people who hit your landing page, assuming it's qualified traffic that's you got the right traffic hitting the page. If you basically sell cleaning services, it's people who want cleaning services like that. Okay? And of that 1 to 5%, you should be able to get, at least 30 to 50% to set an appointment if you know what you're doing, which would give you a lot of extra leads from your ad campaigns that you're already running, which is why you do it. Now, you have to understand the way that to do it to get these kind of numbers. Most people are not going to get these numbers here. And for that matter, You need to make your live chat seem like a real human. The biggest problem with live chat nowadays is they think it's a bot every time because everybody's trying to use a bot because everybody wants to cheap out on it. They don't want to hire anybody to answer the live chats. They just want a bot to take it over. And I blame this on the software companies because the software companies lie to you and say, oh, you don't need a human to talk to people anymore, which they themselves, if you queried them and you ask them, do you like to call your bank and deal with the robot, they would say no. It's just an all-around scam, essentially. Everybody's getting lied to, so therefore everybody's doing it wrong. The reality is, yes, you use some, not AI, but automation, there we go, on your live chat, but you only do it in the initial engagement with the user. So you have an automated message show up and then followed by 2 or 3 other automated messages just to get the user to respond. And then once the user responds, the human takes over. That's actually the extent of how the automation should be baked into the live chat on your website if you really want the kind of results that you can get out of it. And then with that, you do different messages for different products, product pages on your site, different service pages on your website. So if they're interested in product A, you could say, hey, I see you're looking at product A. I'm a product A expert. Do you have a question about how to use this? What do you plan on using it for? ? You leave an open-ended question like that and it gets them to start chatting and it looks like a human versus, hey, thank you for coming to our website. If you need anything, let me know. And you're going to get, instead of a 5% response rate on that, you're going to get a 0.5% response rate. And that's like literally the difference that makes doing the one way versus the other way. You literally have the one chat show up and it's on a delay by 5, 10, 15 seconds, depending on what niche you're in. In some niches, they aren't going to stay on the website long enough to let them wait 15 seconds. But if they're going to be on the page for any reasonable amount of time, 15 seconds, have it pop up, if not 10, if not 5. After another 10, 15 seconds goes by, if they don't respond, you have another message that pops up for them, which makes it really look like a human. And then another one a little bit later. If you have any questions, let me know. And you kind of end it with that. So, hey, I see you're interested in buying a broom here. I'm a broom expert. Then, are you there? I just want to make sure that, you saw my message. Okay, let me know if you need anything. That's the kind of the flow we typically use with our clients to get close to 5% response rates. 5% of the traffic hitting our landing page will turn into a live chat, okay? Furthermore, as the other information you need to know here, you have the headshot on the chat not look like a stock photo of somebody you got off iStock, because people, even though they don't know what stock photos are, that looks fake as hell, make it look like a real human. Like you literally, some guy at his desk at your company took his phone, if you have to, and took a picture of himself. Because the biggest issue is getting past the mental block of people thinking chats are just automated, which they do not want to deal with. I mean, if they'll deal with the chat if they absolutely cannot call or they can't do anything else, then they'll bear with it, but they really don't like it. So you have that, and that's how you basically, those kind of response rates. You can get 1 to 5% of the people hitting your website chatting with you if you do just what I told you to do there. Now, which is your best solution. Now, if you want to outsource this, you just are hell-bent on not having one of your precious employees answering these live chats because they tell you they're too busy or whatever. Legitimately, I know people, sales teams are busy. They don't have time to answer a chat every, moment in the day, which in my opinion, that's still dumb because again, the initial chat could be automated and when they reply, you can answer it. I don't care if the person's doing outbound sales all day or even if they're on a sales call, they can get an alert on their phone and start chatting with somebody and put somebody on hold. They can answer the damn chat if they really wanted to. You just got to put your foot down and make them do it. And literally make them do it, saying, hey, you're not working here if you're not answering these chats because I'm not paying for traffic and get you leads if you're not going to answer all the leads. Flat out. That's what I'm going to be doing. I do the same exact thing at our own firm. So I'm not just being a hypocrite here. I have somebody answering the chat because I make these videos. How am I going to answer a chat legitimately myself? Which that I don't need to do that, but I have somebody and they have to answer every single person who comes to the site. It's not automated, but in your case, you could automate the first message and all they have to do is respond to the initial chat after they reply to that initial message / follow-up message that's automated as well, like I talked about before. If you use a the okay solution, whereas what I just described is the best solution, you can have an okay solution, which is to use a specialized chat answering service. You use their systems, their chat, everything, and they'll just send you the appointments, send it through to your calendar, and you get a few extra leads that way. That's certainly a hell of a lot better than no chat at all. Okay, but their chat that they're going to have, and if somebody fixes it, I'd be happy to update this video, but they're not going to make it look like a humanized thing. Okay, so therefore your response rate is just simply not going to be as high. You're going to get, the 0.5 to 3% in their response rate to your chats, depending on what niche you're in. But for the most part, it's probably going to be closer to the 0.5 to 1 to 1.5 range. Whereas if you do it yourself, you can easily be in the 2 to 5% range if you actually time it right, set up the scripting right, and so on and so forth. Itself, if you're in a niche where people do ask questions, of course, if nobody asks questions because what you sell is so self-evident, then you want to get that kind of response rate. But just basically assume that if you're getting like a 0.5 with these other companies like a Blazio, you can get 1.5 doing it yourself. It's really going to make that much of a difference at the end of the day, doing it all the way correct versus, it's good enough. And then finally, of course, the poorest option would be to have a BPO company doing it that does all these other things, call outsourcing or call answering, everything else, which they have not set up their systems to perfect chat to appointment rate like a specialized company would. And you're going to be getting less than a percentage point of people engaging with the chat in that particular case. For that matter, setting up these live chats in order to get these kind of responses, it does take a little bit of finesse. If you are interested in this, you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I'll set it up for you and we'll guarantee your results because we know it works. We've done this on a dozen plus accounts already. One of the things I always like doing once our ads are working for clients is suggest the chat. And I tell them, here, I'll set up the chat. You'll get an extra 30% more profit from your ads. That makes us look good and it doesn't take us more than an hour to set up. And we do that just as a courtesy to our clients. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me at my firm. I also can, while we're talking about it, tell you 20 other things that you can do to raise the profitability of your ads and what we can guarantee in terms of results on that. So if you're interested in that, having a conversation with me personally, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com. Similar to that, or in addition to that, if you don't want to work with an agency like ours outright, you like managing your own stuff, we also, that is your ads, since we just focus on the online ads and landing pages and tracking. If you want to hire me for coaching or consulting, I also offer this. You can reach out to me. I can go over everything you're doing and tell you where the bottlenecks are in your ad setup in terms of why you're not getting more results, more profit, making your ads work. And I go through everything, your website, your sales process, your landing page design, your website design, all of it. And because I understand all of it because I manage businesses at a high level, and I understand more than just the ads and where the bottlenecks actually exist. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at my firm. And of course, we also sell ad templates. We've worked in your niche market before. We can sell you the winning ads and landing pages and the campaign templates that work for your niche market. And we've worked in over 100 different niche markets, so the chances are quite high we've gotten you the results you're looking for already and worked in your market in a different city or country or state. And you could buy from us the template and you use it for yourself, of which you're going to know the results you're going to get with it up front before you use it. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at our same firm as well. Beyond that, if you have any questions about anything I talked about here in terms of outsourcing your live chat, let me know. You can always ask me any marketing related question you'd like in the comment section. I get back to everybody typically within 24 hours time. But I can't stress enough that why live chat works so well, because either nobody does it in your niche market already, or if they do it, they're using a bot. Maybe they have 1 or 2 people you're competing with having a human answer the chat, but it's probably going to be, hey, if you have any questions, let me know, which nobody wants to respond to that. Plus, they just think it's a bot responding to them itself. And some people say, I'm a real human, and they think that's clever. That's a little bit better, but since everybody says that, they still think it's a bot, practically speaking. Your best is to actually say something that makes it absolutely clear you're not a bot whatsoever, and you create human delays in the messages that pop up, make it really look humanized. Then you'll start getting some major chats going for your business. And for that matter, if you just do what I mentioned about telling your salespeople to answer the chats once people start replying, there shouldn't be any reason that it cost you any extra money. Somebody's got to answer the other leads you get anyway that come through the phone. Just have them start doing this as well. And once the chat's set up, you're done. You spend $30 a month to keep the thing going. I recommend Live Chat Inc. personally, that has the best automation, so you can do different pop-ups, different scripts for different pages of your website and so forth. Then it gives you really good stats on determining whether the script you're using, the script that you want to test, is it doing better or not, and that kind of thing. If you want to have other tips like this, like what I just told you about live chat, you can always, if you subscribe to this channel, I'm going to go over all the stuff that's going to help you make your ad campaigns better, from not just the ads, what ads work, how they work, landing pages, website design as it pertains to making ads work, your tracking solutions, how that makes your ads work better. And it's coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to find out the working information about what works, and which is very unique because most of the yahoos on YouTube talking about ads, they don't actually run any ads themselves, or they have somebody else do it. They're not actually doing it themselves. Therefore, they don't have a real pulse on what's going on. If you want to learn from somebody actively in the weeds doing it and just strategy, because that's my sole job at our firm, you want to subscribe to this channel because you're going to get exactly that on this channel from me. And for that matter, you should also check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. We'll have all the strategies that you would want to be able to know how to use to increase the results on your ads there for you. It's all the stuff that we use to guarantee results for clients at our firm, with everything you need to use them, screenshots, the whole thing. So if you like the channel, you should check the blog out as well. But with that said, I'm going to pretty much wrap it up with that. Just ultimately know most of the firms out there aren't that good that you want to outsource to, and a specialized one is going to be the best. But even within the specialized ones, I haven't tested them all, so I can't say, okay, this one, after testing 15 of them, is the best. But Blazio is one that kind of gets you started. And then if you want to try some other services to see if you can increase your chat engagement rate even more, then you can go ahead and do that, which obviously it's not that hard to be able to do this, because you can go ahead and do it for 6 months and then switch to another one and see how many chats you're getting, how many appointments you're getting overall once you've made the switch. Which if you're doing, spending 10 grand a month or more in ad spend, it makes sense to find the best one that will work for you if you're not going to be able to do it in-house. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said live chat was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.